was passed. 172 BC Third Macedonian War. Rome declared war on Macedonia. 167 BC Third Macedonian War. The Macedonian king Perseus of Macedon was captured. Macedonia was divided into 4 districts subject to Rome. 155 BC Lusitanian War. The Lusitanians of Hispania Ulteria rebelled against Rome. 150 BC Fourth Macedonian War. And Andriscus rebelled against Rome, claiming to be Perseus's son and the rightful king of Macedonia. 149 BC Third Punic War. Rome declared war on Carthage. The Lex Calpurnia was passed, establishing a praetor-led court to hear appeals against extortionate taxes levied by governors in the provinces. 148 BC Fourth Macedonian War. Andriscus was surrendered to Rome to be executed. 146 BC Third Punic War. Roman forces breached the city of Carthage, burned it, and enslaved its surviving inhabitants. Achaean War. Roman forces decisively defeated the armies of the Achaean League at Corinth. The province of Macedonia was organized. The province of Africa was organized on captured Carthaginian territory. 139 BC Lusitanian War. The Lusitanian leader Viriatus was assassinated by his 3 ambassadors to Rome: Audax, Ditalcus and Minurus. Lex Gabinia Tabellaria required a secret ballot in elections of all magistrates. 133 BC The tribune of the plebs Tiberius Gracchus was beaten to death by a mob of senators led by the Pontifex Maximus Publius Cornelius Scipio Nazicus Arapio, consul. 138 BC. 121 BC The province of Gallia Narbonensis was organized. The first Senatus Consultum Ultimum was passed, granting the consul Lucius Opimius emergency powers to defeat the partisans of Gaius Gracchus. 112 BC Juguthine War. Rome declared war on Numidia. 107 BC Gaius Marius was elected consul. Marius instituted the Marian reforms of the military, among them the establishment of a standing army and the recruitment of non-property owners. 106 BC Marius was re-elected consul. Juguthine War. The Numidian king Jugutar was imprisoned in the Mamertine prison. 105 BC 6 October Battle of Erojo. A coalition of the Cimbri and Teutons inflicted a serious defeat on the Roman army at modern Orange. Some 100,000 Roman soldiers were killed. 104 BC Marius was elected consul for the first of 3 years in a row. 102 BC Battle of Aquae Rome decisively defeated the forces of the Teutons and Ambrose and killed some 90,000 soldiers and civilians. 101 BC Battle of Vercellae. An invasion of Italy by the Cimbri was decisively defeated by a numerically inferior Roman force. Some 100,000 Cimbri soldiers and civilians were killed along with their king Boiorix. 1st century BC. Year date event 100 BC Marius was elected consul. 10 December Assassins hired by Lucius Appuleius Saturninus and Gaius Servilius Glaucia beat Todiath Gaius Memmius, a candidate for the consulship. 91 BC Social War. 91-87 BC The Roman clients in Italy: the Marsi, the Pilini, the Vestini, the Mariusini, the Pisans, the Frentani, the Herpini, the Eopiges, Pompey, Venusa, Lucania and Samium rebelled against Rome. 88 Sulla's march on Rome. The consul Sulla led an army of his partisans across the Pomorum into Rome. Social War. 91-89 BC The war ended. 87 BC First Mithridatic War. Roman forces landed at Epirus. 85 BC First Mithridatic War. A peace was agreed between Rome and Pontus under which the latter returned to its pre-war borders. 83 Sulla's Civil War. Sulla landed with an army at Brindisi. Second Mithridatic War. The Roman general Lucius Licinius Murena invaded Pontus. 82 Sulla's Civil War. Sulla was declared dictator. 81 BC Second Mithridatic War. Murena withdrew from Pontus. Sulla resigns dictatorship after enacting numerous reforms. In the same year. 80 BC final consulship of Sulla, he leaves Rome once the year is over. Sertorian War. Quintus Sertrius landed on the Iberian Peninsula in support of a Lusitanian rebellion. 73 BC Third Mithridatic War. Pontus invaded Bithynia. Third Servile War. Some 70 gladiators, slaves of Lentulus Batiatus in Capua, made a violent escape. 72 BC Sertorian War. Marcus Perpenavento, by now the leader of the Romans in revolt in Iberia, was executed by the general Pompey. 71 BC Third Servile War. The slaves in rebellion were decisively defeated by Roman forces near Petelia. Their leader Spartacus was killed. 66 BC The last of the Cilician pirates were wiped out by Pompey. 63 BC Third Mithridatic War. Defeated, the Pontic king Mithridates VI of Pontus ordered his friend and bodyguard to kill him. Siege of Jerusalem. 63 BC Pompey conquered Jerusalem and entered the Holy of Holies of the Second Temple. Cicero was elected consul. Second Catilinarian conspiracy. A conspiracy led by the senator Catiline to overthrow the Republic was exposed before the Senate. The 5 conspirators present were summarily executed in the Mamertine prison. 60 BC Pompey joined a political alliance, the so-called First Triumvirate, with the consul Julius Caesar and the censor Marcus Licinius Crassus. 59 BC Consulship of Julius Caesar. 58 BC Gallic Wars. Roman forces barred the westward migration of the Helvetii across the Rhone. 55 BC 1 St invasion of Britain. Julius Caesar's first invasion of Britain. 54 BC 2 ND invasion of Britain. Julius Caesar's second invasion of Britain. 53 BC 6 May Battle of Carrhae. A Parthian army decisively defeated a numerically superior Roman invasion force near Haran. Crassus was killed. 50 BC Gallic Wars. The last Gaulish rebels were defeated. 49 BC 10 January Caesar's civil war. Julius Caesar illegally crossed the Rubicon into Italy with his army. 48 BC 4 January Caesar's civil war. Caesar landed at Durrës in pursuit of Pompey and his partisans the Optimates. 46 November Caesar left Africa for Iberia in pursuit of Pompey's sons Gnaeus Pomptus and Sextus Pompey. 44 BC 15 March Assassination of Julius Caesar. Caesar was assassinated in the theatre of Pompey by a conspiracy of senators. 43 BC 27 November the Lex Titius was passed, granting the second triumvirate of Octavian, later known as Augustus, Mark Antony and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus the power to make and annul laws and appoint magistrates. 42 BC Liberators Civil War. Augustus and Antony led some 30 legions to northern Greece in pursuit of Caesar's assassins Marcus Junius Brutus the Younger and Gaius Cassius Longinus. 23 October Liberators Civil War. Brutus committed suicide after being defeated in battle. 33 Antony's Parthian War. A campaign led by Antony against the Parthian Empire ended in failure. The second triumvirate expired. 31 BC 2 September Battle of Actium. Forces loyal to Augustus defeated Antony and his lover Cleopatra Queen of Egypt, in a naval battle near Actium. 30 BC 1 August Final War of the Roman Republic. Antony's forces defected to Augustus. He committed suicide. 30 August Cleopatra committed suicide, probably in Roman custody and by snakebite. The province of Egypt was organized. Augustus took the title Pharaoh. 29 BC Moesia was annexed to Rome. Cantabrian Wars. Rome deployed some 80,000 soldiers against the Cantabri in Iberia. 27 BC 16 January the Senate granted Augustus the titles Augustus, Majestic, and Princeps. First. 25 BC Augustus indicated his nephew Marcus Claudius Marcellus, Julio Claudian dynasty, Ash's chosen successor by marrying him to his only daughter Julia the Elder. The Roman client Amyntas of Galatia died. Augustus organized his territory as the province of Galatia. 24 BC Augustus campaigns against the Cantabrians in Hispania Tarraconensis. The Cantabrian Wars ended. 23 BC Coinage reform of Augustus. Augustus centralized the minting of and reformed the composition and value of the Roman currency. Marcellus died. 21 BC Augustus married Julia to his general Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa. 19 BC Cantabrian Wars. The last major combat operations ended. The Cantabri and Ascius were pacified. 17 BC Augustus adopted the sons of Agrippa and Julia, his grandsons Gaius Caesar and Lucius Caesar, as his own sons. 16 BC Rhaetia and Noricum were conquered and annexed to Rome. 12 BC Germanic Wars. Roman forces crossed the Rhine into Germania. Agrippa died of fever. 11 BC Augustus married Julia to his general and stepson Tiberius. 9 BC the Roman general Nero Claudius Drusus died from injuries sustained falling from a horse. Pannonia was annexed and incorporated into Illyricum. 6 BC Augustus offered Tiberius tribunician power and imperium over the eastern half of the empire. Tiberius refused, announcing his retirement to Rhodes. 2 BC Augustus was acclaimed Pater Patriae, father of the country, by the Senate. 5 Augustus convicted Julia of adultery and treason, annulled her marriage to Tiberius, and exiled her with her mother Scribonia to Ventotene. 1st century. Date Ventad 220 August Lucius Caesar died of a sudden illness. Augustus allowed Tiberius to return to Rome as a private citizen. AD 421 February Gaius Caesar died in Lycia from wounds suffered in battle. Augustus adopted Tiberius as his son and granted him tribunician power. AD 6 Augustus deposed Herod Archelaus, ethnic in Samaria, Judea and Idumea, and organized the province of Judea on his territories. Bellum Battonianum. The Daciates, an Illyrian people, rose up against Roman authority. In Illyricum. AD 9 Bellum Battonianum. The Daciate chieftain Bato, Daciate chieftain, surrendered to Roman forces. September Battle of the Teutoburg Forest. A coalition of Germanic forces ambushed and destroyed 3 Roman legions in the Teutoburg Forest. Publius Quintilius Varus, the commander of Roman forces in Germania, committed suicide. AD 10 Tiberius assumed command of Roman forces in Germania. Illyricum was divided into the provinces of Pannonia and Dalmatia. AD 13 Tiberius was granted power equal to Augustus as co-princeps. AD 1419 Augustus died. Germanicus, son of Nero Claudius Drusus and adoptive son of Tiberius, was appointed commander of Roman forces in Germania. Germanicus and Tiberius's natural son Drusus Julius Caesar were sent to suppress mutinies in Germania and Pannonia, respectively. AD 15 Lucius Caius Strabo was appointed governor of Egypt. His son Sejanus remained as Thesal prefect of the Praetorian Guard. AD 16 Battle of the Weser River. A Roman army led by Germanicus decisively defeated a Germanic force on the Weser. AD 17 Archelaus of Cappadocia, king in Cappadocia and a Roman client, died. Tiberius annexed this territory, organizing it as the province of Cappadocia. Antiochus III of Commagene, king of Commagene and a Roman client, died. Tiberius annexed his territory to the province of Syria. AD 18 Tiberius granted Germanicus imperium over the eastern half of the empire. AD 19 10 October Germanicus died in Antioch, possibly after being poisoned on Tiberius's orders. AD 22 Tiberius granted Drusus Julius Caesar tribunician power, marking him as his choice as successor. AD 2314 September Drusus Julius Caesar died, possibly after being poisoned by Sejanus or his wife Livilla. AD 26 Tiberius retired to Capri, leaving Sejanus in control of Rome. Through his office. AD 28 the Frisi hanged their Roman tax collectors and expelled the governor. AD 29 Livia, Augustus's widow and Tiberius's mother, died. AD 3118 October Sejanus was executed on Tiberius's orders. Tiberius invited Germanicus's son Caligula to join him on Capri. AD 3716 March Tiberius died. His will left his offices jointly to Caligula and Drusus Julius Caesar's son. His grandson Tiberius Gemellus. AD 38 Tiberius Gemellus was murdered on Caligula's orders. AD 40 Ptolemy of Mauritania, king of Mauritania and a Roman client, was murdered on Caligula's orders during a state visit to Rome. His slave Edmund rose in revolt against Roman rule. AD 41 the general Gaius Suetonius Paulinus was appointed to suppress the rebellion in Mauritania. 24 January Caligula was assassinated by the centurion Cassius Chaerea. The Praetorian Guard acclaimed Nero Claudius Drusus's son Claudius Princeps. Claudius restored the Judean monarchy under King Herod Agrippa. AD 42 the territory of the former Mauritania was organized into the provinces of Mauritania Caesariensis and Mauritania Tingitana. AD 43 Roman conquest of Britain. The senator Aulus Plautius led 4 legions into Great Britain in support of King Verica of the Atrebates. Claudius annexed Lycia into the empire as a province. AD 46 the Odrysian king Rhoemetalces III, a Roman client, was killed by anti-Roman insurgents. Odrysia was incorporated into the empire as the province of Thracia. AD 48 Claudius's wife Messalina was executed for conspiracy. Claudius appointed Herod Agrippa's son Herod Agrippa II king of Judea. AD 49 Claudius married his niece, Germanicus's daughter Agrippina the Younger. AD 50 Claudius adopted Agrippina's son Nero as his own son. AD 5413 October Claudius died. Nero succeeded him as princeps. AD 5511 February Claudius's young natural son Britannicus died, probably by poison. AD 58 Roman-Parthian War of 5863. Roman forces attacked Armenia in support of their preferred king Tigranes VI of Armenia against the Parthian candidate Tiridates I of Armenia. AD 5923 March Agrippina died, probably murdered by her son Nero. AD 60 Boudicca, a queen of the Iceni, was appointed to lead a revolt of the Iceni and the Trinovants against Rome. AD 61 Battle of Watling Street. Some 80,000 soldiers and civilians among the Iceni and Trinovants were killed, probably in the modern West Midlands, ending Boudicca's revolt. AD 63 Roman-Parthian War of 5863. The Roman and Parthian empires agreed that Tiridates and his descendants would remain kings of Armenia as Roman clients, ending the war. AD 6418 July Great Fire of Rome. A fire began which would cause massive property damage and loss of life over 6 days in Rome. Nero began construction of his large and extravagant villa the Domus AD 6519 April Pisanian conspiracy. Nero was informed of a broad conspiracy to assassinate him and appoint the senator Gaius Calpurnius Piso leader of Rome. AD 66 First Jewish-Roman War. The Jewish population of Judea revolted against Roman rule. AD 689 June Nero, then in hiding in the villa of the freedman Phelan, was notified that the Senate had declared him an enemy of the state and ordered him brought to the forum to be publicly beaten to death. He ordered his secretary Epaphroditus to kill him. The Senate accepted Galba, governor of Hispania Tarraconensis, as ruler of Rome. Zealot temple siege. The forces of Ananus ben Ananus, the Jewish former high priest of Israel, laid siege to the Zealots in the Second Temple. AD 6915 January the Praetorian Guard assassinated Galba and acclaimed Otho ruler of Rome. 16 April following his defeat by Vitellius, the commander of the Roman army on the Lower Rhine near modern Calvatone, and to prevent further Civil War. Otho committed suicide. Revolt of the Batavi. Gaius Julius Civilis, commander of the Batavi auxiliaries in the Rhine legions, turned against Rome. December. The Senate recognized Vespasian, the commander of Roman forces in Egypt and Judea, as ruler of Rome. 22 December. Vitellius was executed in Rome by